this is me 115 days on testosterone. Okay, something I've been wanting to talk about for a while that I haven't actually addressed is, being trans-masculine versus trans-neutral, I suppose. Versus trans-feminine, too, I guess you could say. A lot of the time, I notice that most trans guys that I know fall somewhere in the spectrum of, kind of being more gender-neutral, genderqueer, what have you. I don't know if that's an East Coast thing or what, but, for instance, like, we are mostly, we identify as male, or with the male end of whatever, and, we're not necessarily, super ultra-masculine. Like, myself, I think it was more of an issue of passing before. Like, I wasn't very comfortable being effeminate in most ways just because it wasn't something that passed well. But once I came into myself, once I started just letting my facial hair grow, and then, again, after I started T, I think is when I started to kind of say, okay, this is okay. It's okay for me to be this way. Because most of the time I was afraid that I wasn't passing, so, I felt almost like I had to overcompensate on being masculine. And that's kind of a double-edged sword. I think a lot of trans folk, this is trans women included, try to over-masculinize or over-feminize themselves in order to fit in. They don't think about all the different types of men there are out there in the world, all the different types of women. And a lot of trans guys that I've met that identify as straight are like super duper uber masculine, the way that a bio-male would be if he were, say, surrounded by a bunch of gay men that he didn't want to hit on him. He would sometimes, over-masculinize himself, act like he's more macho than maybe he really is, things like that. And I've encountered that in trans men as well. Sometimes I think that trans men are so competitive because I have this theory that we're holding on to being socialized, on the outside as a girl, that competitive attitude that girls have. I either love this bitch or I hate this bitch. There is no, gray area, whatnot. And the whole, like, if Susie has, a Prada bag and I got mine, if Susie has a Prada bag and Susie doesn't want anybody to know where she got it, she'll be like, fuck this bitch, I'm not about to help her out. That's what I feel like kind of happens sometimes in the trans community. It happens more with males that I've met and experienced, more with guys than it does with women. It seems like we're hanging on to that socialization, that competitive jungle cat kind of nature, and it seems like trans women are really a lot more inclusive of each other. Maybe I'm wrong, but, just in my experience that I've met, they're, a lot more inclusive and, maybe less likely to, be like every man for himself, so to speak. I don't know. I guess I'm from the school of thought where, somebody else is on the same journey as you, and, they're having a hard time, whatever. You should lend a hand, and be helpful, try to help that person out. I mean, I've handed my doctor and my therapist cards out like candy. And it's not just, oh, I went to this therapist, you have to go to this one. It's just, I know therapy's not for everybody, but in terms of, like, the Harry Benjamin standards of care, you have to have therapy, like, to be well-rounded. Like, if every person on the planet could get just, like 1 month, maybe 3 months of therapy, there'd be a lot less killing and a lot more level-headedness, I think. That's aside from the people who are, clinically insane and perhaps therapy isn't going to help them at all. But it just seems like, like, I know therapy's not for everybody, I know hormones aren't for everybody, and I know everybody's path is not going to match mine exactly, because if it does, there's probably a problem. Like me, I opted to do hormones before surgery. And I did speak with my doctor about it, and he was like, yeah, it's kind of a good idea. If you do it before, you kind of helps to masculinize your body. Um, and it's a good idea. He's like, you don't have to, but it's a good idea to, like, be on hormones for, like, a year, 2 years, whatever, and then go get surgery. He's like, but you don't have to do that. Like, you could, do surgery. The very first thing you do is surgery, and then get a name change, start T, whatever. And you don't even have to do hormones. Like, there's natural transitioning. You can use foods and supplements that naturally increase your testosterone. Working out, things like that. It's all whatever your path is your path. I mean, I'm not bashing anyone who isn't following the plan like I am. I'm just saying that, there are certain milestones that kind of have to be completed in the eyes of the law. Um, like, in order to get that gender marker permanently changed, you have to have some sort of surgical procedure, and your doctor has to sign, that you are male. And that's for medical transitions. I don't know, how it works for non-medical transitions. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I didn't research non-medical transition because that's not my part of the road. Like, I felt that medical transition is what I needed. And it's not saying that everybody does. Like, some guys are completely and totally happy with just being, in the same body. Some people, for religious reasons, they don't feel that it's right to change your body, and that's cool with me. That's their path. But it just amazes me how many very different choices there are out there. Like, my therapist, when I first walked in, had asked about my choices on therapy, surgery, hormones, blah, blah, blah. And, I told her I wasn't really sure if I wanted to get lower surgery. Like, I do want to get some, but I don't think a phalloplasty is for me, just because it's not going to be perfect. And that's probably why I wouldn't get it done, because I would want it to be perfect, and functioning completely properly and, perfectly the way I want it to. For me, it's really, really important to, think through your choices. Like, if I decided tomorrow that I didn't want top surgery, then that would be fine. But I know it's for me. Like, I need to get top surgery. That's a huge deal for me. And it's a milestone that once I get to it, I'll feel incredible, because I know that I went through everything that I needed to go through. I personally needed to go through, to make sure I was in the right mindset to get it done. I mean, like I said, again, therapy isn't for everybody, but, like, I didn't think I needed therapy, but when I went, it kind of put more things in perspective for me. Like, it let me know that it's okay to be, trans-masculine with a dash of feminine, and it let me know that my sexuality was okay being ambiguous. And, it just kind of gave me that clarity and that reassurance that I kind of needed, to continue on the path that I'm on. So, that being said, this video is probably going to be way too long, but that's just a couple things I wanted to talk about, as far as the community goes. Probably going to post another video here, not too long, probably another voice comparison one soon. I'm thinking about doing it once I hit 135 days, I think, is what I'm going to do it, because that would be 20 days from now, so that would give me, so that'll give me like 50 days between, the 75 marker, and, I'm sorry, it'll give me 70-something days, I don't know. It'll give me a lot of days before I do my next comparison. I'm thinking about maybe starting like a monthly comparison, like month to month. I have been doing week-to-week photos, and, I'm seeing a lot of changes. But anyway, that was me on, it is Wednesday, June 7th, 2010, so, peace out, world.